Am I the bad word? I can't say because it's within the first 15 seconds of the video. You guys wanted me to do one of these, a vegan edition, and I have found multiple posts on this subreddit concerning veganism. So let's do it. This first one is not really an easy answer, I think. Good one to start with, maybe. So this guy has a big family, 8 kids between he and his wife. One of his kids, this 13-year-old, wants to go vegan. Fine. He says that they will pay for groceries, but she'll have to plan and cook her meals. She can't just live off of frozen food or takeout. And the parents are going to be looking over the meals she's planning to make sure she's eating healthfully. She asked if they could make small changes to the foods they were making, choosing a vegan pasta, cooking meatballs separately. They said no, they're not going to be changing their food habits at all. Then she starts sending them links to expensive pots and pans and plates and cups because she needs her own of these things because theirs are contaminated. Then she starts demanding that the other kids remove all of their food from the fridge in the game room because that's going to be her little vegan food fridge. It's not fair to make her go all the way to the garage when she's hungry, so she thought taking over the game room kitchenette would be a good compromise. I told Gina I'm done with the vegan bullshit and that she can't be vegan while living in my house. Okay. Way to escalate things, Dad. Good job. Then he adds a bit about changing the meals, saying he wouldn't do that for any of his other kids either. He has a kid who hates mushrooms. He doesn't avoid cooking meals with mushrooms in it to accommodate her. So obviously we don't know the whole story here. We don't know this girl's reasons for going vegan. I have a feeling it's not ethically motivated given the contamination concerns and wanting to have all her food separate. But again, she's 13 years old. Who knows what's going on? I don't think him escalating the situation was a good choice. I think maybe sitting down and listening to why she wants to do that is a better way to handle things. It sounds like he's maybe the type of parent who doesn't do that very often. It's my way or the highway type of parenting. But I've said before, I'm not keen on kids being vegan, even though I have 3 vegan kids myself. I don't think many parents are, quite frankly, capable of feeding their kids vegan healthfully, particularly those who are not vegan themselves and probably know very, very little about vegan nutrition or nutrition in general. Animal products do offer a sort of fail-safe for people who don't really know anything about nutrition. Not saying that Americans are fully nourished or anything like that. Obviously, we're all deficient in fiber, but I think there's a big difference between a teenager being fiber deficient and a teenager being B12 deficient. I think this has little to do with veganism and more to do with this guy and his wife's parenting style, which is probably not going to work well for this girl, and they might want to rethink that because she is old enough to remember these instances, possibly come to resent them for not taking her seriously and treating her like a baby. And also she could not, take over the whole game room and buy $800 pots and pans to avoid contamination. But again, she's 13 years old. That's not her responsibility. It's his responsibility as the parent to discuss that calmly with her, respectfully with her. Somehow I doubt he even attempted to do that. And also providing a few more, compromises, concessions on his part, right? Like maybe having a night a week or something where the dinner is vegan, helping her plan healthy meals, not just saying, oh, this is all on you, not even being like interested in why your kid wants to do this. I mean, maybe he was, and that's not in the post. But again, going by the whole flavor of the text, I seriously doubt that. I doubt he has any interest in why she's doing what she's doing. And that's only if she's doing this for the animals or something. If this is just like a health thing, I would then worry about orthorexia, stuff like that, and probably would not cater to her desires, quite frankly. So here's a roommate one. So these 2 roommates, they do not share food at all. They have their own food. They have the fridge split down the middle. It's never been a problem until now. The roommate has gone vegan and he has asked that the crisper drawer on the bottom not contain any meat in it. The OP is putting his meat down there. He says it's the best place to put it, and the vegan roommate is worried about the juices like seeping onto the vegetables, which you should be anyway. This is not like a vegan issue. You should not be storing meat and stuff next to foods that you're going to eat fresh or like close to fresh. You should have it totally separate. But yeah, OP said no. Then the vegan guy like moved some of the meat and actually put it on top of the guy's yogurt, perched precariously, which is pretty gross. Don't do that. Meat should be stored separately, in my opinion, anyway, in its own like little container. If you have so much meat, you can't even do that. Maybe fix that first. But the vegan guy, I don't know how things were approached, but if you've been doing it this way for a long time and this is where the guy's been keeping his meat, then he's probably not going to want to change. But again, like explain that, hey, this isn't even a vegan thing. This is just like a cleanliness, health thing. If they had two separate drawers, two separate crisper drawers like many fridges do, our refrigerator does, then it would make sense to have one side, you know, the meat side, and then the other side with the vegetables, right? There's really no chance of cross-contamination there, but they are sharing one drawer, so yeah, you definitely shouldn't have them in the same drawer unless the meat is in like a container, right, in case it does leak. But really, it makes more sense for the vegetables to be moved, right? Again, this is not a vegan issue. This is just a health cleanliness thing. Really, the vegetables should be moved, not the meat. You want the meat on the bottom of the fridge, right? So in case it does leak, there's less chance of it leaking onto other foods. So yeah, I think the vegetables should be moved, not the meat. Am I the asshole for not accommodating a friend's vegan coworker at a dinner party? Okay, so this person had already sent out the invites, had already sent a text asking about allergies, dietary restrictions, got replies, planned the menu, sent it out. Then the friend who hadn't brought a +1 asked if he could invite his coworker. Turns out his coworker is vegan, but he didn't mention it to me at the time, even though he already knew the menu. Maybe I should have asked about dietary restrictions, but I was at work and distracted. Oh no. On Friday night, I had already started some of the prep for the meal. My friend adds his coworker to the group text, and she asks what will be served. When another friend posts it, she comes back with a massive wall of text. Some of the highlights include her saying that at least half the dishes at any event with food must be vegan because vegans shouldn't have to announce they are vegan. If they have to say they are vegan, that's the same as forcing Jewish people wear yellow stars during the Holocaust. Girl. She also demanded that I add at least 2 vegan-friendly dishes to the menu, otherwise it proves that I hate both animals and minorities. If she had politely asked for some vegan-friendly dishes, I would have gladly tweaked the menu, even if it was last minute. I mean, technically, veganism is a minority. It's a small group of people, but I understand what he's saying. Yeah, why would you behave that way? We don't live in a vegan world. People see veganism as just a dietary choice. Even if you say it's for the animals, it's very hard for people to wrap their minds around it. They don't want to wrap their minds around it because a lot of uncomfortable truths, so to speak, come along with that. Behaving that way and demanding things. Come on. I would not want her at my party either. Uh-oh, calling my girlfriend out on not being a vegan in front of her friend. So the girlfriend is vegetarian. Then she meets this girl, Sheila. Sheila is vegan. She's been chatting with my girlfriend, Michaela, frequently, and Michaela apparently has been telling Sheila and their other workmates that Michaela is a vegan. She's gone so far as to put on Facebook ridiculous posts such as loving my vegan lifestyle, salads for lunch, being a vegan is great. The whole time she's making these comments, I'll see her eating cheese, drinking milk, etc. She's still keeping with her vegetarian diet, but she's definitely not a vegan by any stretch of the term. Pretty much tried to ignore it, even though it's been a little annoying hearing her talk about it. How could you ignore that? How could you ignore the person you're with or even a friend just blatantly lying like that and just go, that's just Michaela. I snapped yesterday at our Easter dinner, which Michaela insisted be held at our home. She invited Sheila, who I honestly didn't like because when she was looking at the dinner spread, she made comments about Michaela putting up with so many animal products, and I'd had enough. So when Michaela and Sheila struck up a conversation in which Sheila proceeded to insult our food once again, I interrupted, saying that it really isn't a problem for Michaela given that she's not a vegan. In fact, I watched her eat an omelet just this morning. Oh, dude. Michaela began to deny it, claimed that I was lying, but Sheila looked a little upset that Michaela had been bullshitting her. Sheila is mad at Michaela for faking veganism for months, and now Michaela is upset with me because I should have kept my mouth shut. The worst possible way to broach that topic, and is a good example of why you should bring things up sooner rather than later, particularly if you're the type of person to stew on things or to get agitated and then blurt things out, right? Which is exactly what happened here. He got agitated and then brought it up in the worst possible time, the worst possible way. He apologized to Michaela for upsetting her and for causing an uncomfortable situation, so that's good. I think he should apologize. And then asked her, like, what's up, man? Why'd you lie about this for months, apparently? Oh my gosh. She told me that she genuinely liked speaking to Sheila, and while she hadn't expected her lie to get as far as it did, she wanted to gain a bond/friendship with Sheila. Apparently, though, Sheila hasn't spoken to her outside of work-related topics, which I think is how it usually goes, right? There aren't like the, what's his name? George Santos, super compulsive liars. I think sometimes it's just you lie about something quickly and then you're too embarrassed or ashamed or whatever to just say, oh no, sorry, that was a lie. And then it just keeps going and going and going. Who was the 9/11 guy, the comedian who lied about being there or having a brother there or something like that. And there's an interview where, after it came to light that no, that's not true, he just talks about exactly that he said it. He had a split second to not say it because I think he was actually in New York at the time. And someone asked him if he was near the towers or something like that. And he had a split second to say no, but he said yes. And then it just kept going from there. So hopefully she's learned her lesson about lying, because now she's possibly lost what could have been maybe a nice friendship. I don't know, the girl sounds a little obnoxious, and hopefully he's learned a lesson about not letting things stew. I should probably learn that lesson too. Tricking my boyfriend into eating vegan. So this girl, 21, she's been vegan for several years. She said that she's vegan when they first met on their first date, and he just said, oh, cool, and started talking about something else, so not really interested. But whenever she makes food, it's vegan. I've never tried to actively hide this from him. When he asked what we were having, I'd say things like burgers, and I assumed that he knew it would naturally be something like Impossible Burgers. So then Christmas comes, she cooks dinner, a vegan lasagna. After dinner, we were watching some cooking show, and a contestant was making something with fake meat. John commented how he hated when dishes pretended to be meat when it was plant-based, and it was deceptive and gross, and he would never eat that. I was naturally very confused and pointed out that he's eaten that several times. When he questioned me, I explained that dinner had been entirely vegan with fake meat, and every time he's eaten at my place, it's been a vegan dish. He accused me of tricking him into eating something he found disgusting and forcing my diet on him. I said he was stupid for being mad at this, and he said it would be the same as if he had tricked me into eating meat. Oh, Lord, sir. Then he texted how betrayed he felt. He said he hoped I understood how disappointed he felt that I would tamper with his food like that, and that something like this was a serious betrayal of his trust. Okay, tamper with his food. Clearly, he has had no interest in knowing what is in his food prior to this, right? She just makes the food and he eats it. But then when he finds out that the meat is not cow or pig or whatever, then it's a problem. Really? No, he's never helped me cook dinner. He doesn't ask about it other than what are we having, and it's not discussed that much while we eat. If he had asked where I bought the ingredients or how I've prepared it, it's not like I would lie and say it was real meat. He ate and enjoyed the food until he learned there was no meat in it. Give me a break. Not only that, but if he couldn't tell the difference, then what's the real issue here? That OP forced him to eat food that he enjoyed? And also, if I were her, I would feel so good. Like this meat eater who quote unquote hates fake meats has been eating fake meats and didn't even know, like lots of times she's been making food and he's been eating it and enjoying it. I feel like, damn, man, I'm a great cook, and also anyone can be vegan. I'm wondering, does anyone like post on here and get like a win, right? Like her, where everyone's like not the asshole, and then shows it to the other person, right? Like, is she gonna show this to him and see like, here, you messed up, man, you should apologize? Probably not a smart thing to do. Although really, I think that would be a good test for whether or not he could admit that he's wrong. If he continues to double down and act like a baby, then like, yeah, maybe that's worth ending the relationship. Refusing to help my little sister until my niece stops being vegan. Oh no. So OP's sister has several kids, and one of the kids, Maria, is treated differently from the other kids. She's very spoiled. They're very poor, but the sister buys her special vegan stuff, which means much nicer things for her, while my other nephews and nieces have to eat worse food, even though they have many plant-based dishes that are absolutely vegan friendly. I'm assuming she means like beans and rice and vegetables and stuff that are affordable, but my niece won't eat them. I usually send food anytime there is something extra left over, and usually lend her some money. When Maria became vegan and Liam told me about what they were eating, my family and I ended up sending some sort of meat dish to them 2 times a week, but I also stopped lending my sister money. My sister finally got upset, asked why I stopped helping her financially and only sent non-vegan food because it's making Maria upset. I told her that it's because of Maria. I told her that unless Maria stops being vegan and she stops spoiling Maria, I wouldn't help her. The rest of her kids are eating what is equivalent to a slice of pizza and a bowl of cereal without milk per day if I don't help out. Oh my gosh. I'm not mad my niece is vegan. My own son is. I'm mad she's basically draining most of my sister's funds. So that's a lot different than I thought it was gonna be. You have to be so careful mixing money and family and giving people ultimatums. The ultimate goal is to help the other kids, right? To help all the kids eat healthfully, vegan or not. And I don't think telling the sister that you're not going to help until this child is no longer vegan. Yeah, I don't think that's the answer. What is the answer? I don't know. You know, they're not her kids. They're not OP's kids. So there's really not a whole lot she can do here except be a good aunt and be supportive and feed the kids as healthfully as you can when they're with you and make healthy, cheap, plant-based meals. I understand her not wanting to support them financially anymore, but she can continue to make food for them, but make it vegan so that Maria can have it too and not feel excluded. And I mean, as she said, they have many plant-based dishes that are absolutely vegan friendly. Presumably these are more affordable as well. I think making those dishes for all of the kids, getting Maria involved, making, healthy, nutritious food. And I mean, if she still won't eat them, then she still won't eat them. But I think that's a much more positive response than, again, giving an ultimatum, and may actually show Maria that, yeah, you can have delicious, cheap vegan food. Am I the asshole for telling a vegan he could have a cookie? I'm guessing they weren't actually vegan and she said, oh yeah, they're vegan, go ahead. Okay, so coworker made the cookies and asked OP to hand them out because she was going to be off site. Other coworker came over and asked if he could have one. She said he eats a mostly vegan diet, but still semi-regularly eats milk chocolate, chili peppers and fish sauce, several other questionably vegan items. So he asked if he would be allowed to have a cookie, to which I immediately said, sure. He ate the cookie, said it was good. Then later the coworker asked how the cookies went over and she said very well. She was surprised that her vegan friend had one, but I told her that he's flexible with occasional treats. Later she joked to him that she was disillusioned about his diet and realized she didn't have to worry so much about making things he'd be able to eat. He then turned around and scolded me saying, I asked you if they were vegan. I responded with, you absolutely did not. He said that by asking if they were something he could have, he was obviously asking if they were made with animal products. I told him that I answered the question as he asked it, and it never occurred to me that he wanted to know about the ingredients. He asked it like I was being deliberately obtuse, and so I told him that his diet is not my responsibility and that he needs to directly ask and not assume that people will guess. Yeah, you can't assume that people are aware of what you want and what you're doing with your life, right? We've all got our own shit. He's acting like a bit of a baby. Even if he were fully vegan, like you can't just say, oh, can I have that? Am I allowed to have that? And you can't just assume that people are immediately going to think, oh, he's vegan, especially when you're not actually. And cookies, I mean, most cookies are made with like butter and eggs and milk. Like if you really care that much, you should assume they're not vegan. But also for the coworker who made the cookies, for her to even ask, like if he had one or been surprised because he's vegan, well, why would you even make cookies that aren't vegan for everyone to enjoy? Like you're going out of your way to exclude someone. I don't know. That seems kind of shitty. Wouldn't you just make vegan cookies? Oh, am I the asshole for telling my son his grandma eats cow, not beef? My partner and I have been vegan for years. We have a 4-year-old son who eats the same things as us, so for now is also plant-based. The rest of our family is not vegan, generally doesn't try to be accommodating regarding that either. For example, my mother-in-law insisted on throwing a birthday party for my husband and then mentioned the morning of that she would be serving pizza, cake, and ice cream non-vegan, and that we should bring our own versions to the party if we wanted to eat some. Wow, that's wow. Which wouldn't have been unreasonable except for that it was a party she was throwing for my husband. Just little things like that. Yeah, that's not a little thing. She's not nice. My son was sitting on my mother-in-law's lap with his veggie dog and she was eating a beef burger. She asked him if he wanted a bite. This is the first time I've seen her offer him meat. She wasn't trying to be sneaky about it. I think that by asking in front of me, she was testing the waters a bit regarding our earlier statements about him having the choice to eat animal products if he wanted to. He said, is it cow or veggie? Aw. Mother-in-law said, no honey, it's beef. He said, beef? She said, yes, it's good. Try a bite. I was sitting across the table and watching my son process her answer, which in my opinion was intentionally indirect. Yeah. So I offered, beef is another word for cow. My son said cow and pulled a kind of shocked face, which actually surprised me because he knows most other people eat animals, but he acted like this was unheard of. Yeah, that's not surprising at all, even though I tell my kids a lot because I don't want them to be judgmental, overly judgmental towards people. They're still children and they still find it hard to understand like moral gray areas, right? People are good or people are bad, particularly people in their life who they love, right? They're going to assume that they are vegan as well and have a hard time saying, oh, grandma's so wonderful. She's the best person. Oh, but she eats cow. What? So grandma's bad? No. My mother-in-law gave me such a dirty look. My son did not try her burger, ate a few more bites of his veggie dog, and went to play. My mother-in-law got up and went inside, and I didn't see her for the rest of the barbecue. Later, my father-in-law called my husband, berating him for allowing me to drive a wedge between your mother and her only grandchild by making him think she is an animal killer or something, that I can't keep him from eating normal food forever, and I should apologize. So just being honest and explaining to the kid, because clearly the kid wanted to know, like, is this vegan or not? It's more important to protect the mother-in-law's feelings than to be honest to the son. Whoa, okay. Before I made this post, I had no idea that there were certain nutrients we get less of when we cut out certain foods. This is startling and alarming news to me. I immediately shared it with my husband, who also had no idea. Then I left an urgent voicemail for my pediatrician because I hadn't thought to tell her, or my OB during pregnancy for that matter, that our family followed any particular diet, even when she specifically asked me what our diet was like at home. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for bringing this shocking news that is rarely ever discussed when veganism is brought up to my attention. You have undoubtedly saved my child's life. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These people have been vegan for years. Now, it sounds like they're eating veggie dogs, they're eating mock meats and stuff, hopefully like fortified milks, so they've been getting B12 and some vitamin D and whatnot that way. But yeah, people are fucking stupid. I'm sorry, that is so absolutely ridiculous. You are going to feed yourself while pregnant, you are going to feed your child a diet that most people don't eat, and you don't think for 1 second that there might be some nutritional issues surrounding that. Maybe I shouldn't be so angry, but oh my God, that is so fucking stupid. We're too dumb to feed kids vegan. Like, please don't try to do it without the help of a knowledgeable pediatrician, knowledgeable nutritionist, dietitian. Many pediatric offices have a dietitian in-house they work with, or they can refer you to someone. Yeah, fuck. And vegans don't talk about this kind of thing. Vegans talk, what are you talking about? Yes, there are vegans still who are just like, eat a vegan diet and you'll be healthy, but everyone knows about B12 at this point, right? No, they don't, which is why I keep talking about B12. All right, one more. This is a weird one. Am I the asshole for making my son eat vegan for a month as punishment? Okay, so 14-year-old daughter decided to go vegan a year ago. Didn't have any problem with this one bit. I give her the money that I would spend on food for her anyway. She buys her own food, cooks it herself. If what her mom is making isn't vegan, it has been the tiniest change we have ever had to go through. Well, that's nice. For some reason, though, my son has taken this change as an opportunity to bully his sister. I've made it clear to him that this is not okay at all and have punished him several times for his bullying, but it has never gotten through to him. Last week, this all came to a head when my son took all of the food my daughter had bought for the week and hid it, pretending he threw it away on garbage day. I got a call in the middle of the day at work from my daughter crying, saying that he had thrown all her food away. I had to rush home only to discover it was just a prank. I was livid. I was ready to make him eat nothing but rice for the rest of his time under my roof, but my wife calmed me down and came up with a better plan. For the next 30 days, we are going to eat nothing but vegan food. We will make nothing but vegan food and buy nothing but vegan products. Not only is that a lovely thing to do for animals and for the planet, but I think that is absolutely a reasonable response to that. This wasn't even if that was a first time thing, that is pretty bad. That's a terrible prank. But given that this has gone on over and over and over again and he has not stopped, he clearly thinks it's perfectly fine to bully his sister over this, to bully his sister at all. Yeah, I think this is an appropriate response. I told my son this, and that if he wants anything else, he will be paying for it. He lost his mind, but for the past 5 days, we have been a vegan family. Well, my son called my parents and they rang me up furious. That little shit tattled on his parents. Oh my God. Telling me that I was abusing him. I ended up hanging up on them. The rest of my family followed suit, and some friends have now joined in saying that this is asshole-ish of me. My son is miserable, but I really don't care. He brought this upon himself. He still has food to eat and can spend what little pocket money he has to buy meat for the next 25 days if he wants. Good on the mom. I think that's, making him eat rice for the rest of his time living under his roof. I mean, I don't think he really would have done that, obviously, but yeah, the mom sounds like very smart and creative. I think that is absolutely a reasonable punishment for this kid. And the whole family's doing it, right? It's not just him. The whole family is eating vegan. Probably more importantly, it is so supportive of the daughter, right? And really showing her that like this is not okay and we're all going to join together and do this to show you that you are supported and loved. And good for you for sticking up for your daughter and supporting her decision to be vegan. And good for your daughter for planning, buying, and cooking her own meals. Good life skills. Yeah, absolutely. You might even want to hammer the point home by having a couple of vegan meals a week even after the 30 days if you go back to eating meat. He's 16, so that means you've potentially only got 2 years to hammer some tolerance into his skull. I'm sure this is also having some positive consequences for your daughter, since she's now eating the same thing as the rest of the family, and continuing to have some meals like that would probably help her feel included. These comments are so lovely. This is a good one to end on, I think. Well, that was fun, actually. Several of the posts, or a couple of the posts, I was like, oh no. And then I read it and was like, oh, this is more nuanced than I expected. That mother-in-law, though, giving mother-in-laws a bad name, as if they don't already have one. So yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on this and on any of the posts. And God, the mother-in-law, but then also they knew nothing about, they didn't think about any nutritional deficiency. What? That's gonna be in my head all day, just fucking with me. I don't even. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it if you did. Please subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload new stuff. Thank you so much to my patrons at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. I do post 2 exclusive videos there a month for $5 plus patrons. I just posted the controversial video for this month. It's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. I think I talk about like 10 different things. I have shirts and totes and not mugs, just one mug. And I also have an Amazon store page with stuff that I really like. And that's it for me, guys. Thanks again. New video soon.